Hello, everyone, and welcome to another lifting Q&A. Today's episode is being recorded on 3/27/25. So this is actually going to be fairly interesting. Got several of these questions in again. Keep them coming, folks. We'll just do these regularly, especially if we don't have a topic to focus on. We will do these regularly. So make sure these are the dominant topic. This is actually very good that this has happened. So before we go into anything, I open this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna.
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, and loved ones to let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We ask for benevolence now with no conflicting agenda to come in and to join us for this conversation, this Q&A today, so that it can be had in peace, and hopefully you will feel the peace at all as we go through these questions. And with that, and with great blessings we send your way, we say, so be it.
And so be it. So I also have a beginning affirmation and blessing here. To the current timeline, I say, I see now what has gone by, and I now see how we both have come full circle. This means the current bringing back of Q&A. And that's one I wrote earlier today. So here we go. I need my glasses to read this evidently. So.
Okay, question number 1. Why do people identify as animals and or animal forms?
All right. Elena here, everyone. It is simple, really. The dimensions that their multiversal oversoul is connected to is bleeding into this current timeline cluster. The person has no filter to their multidimensional selves, and voila, you have someone identifying as a turtle and with the pronouns turtle tortoise. That was actually something that appeared on Gutfeld not too long ago. Now, a real person, folks. Now, if their oversoul is, say, a dog man or cat person, for instance, this can also bleed through to here, just like the woman who turned herself into a more reptilian form, making a photocopy of one of her dimensional expressions. Some of the cases are also elements of a very ugly psyops currently being goaded by your 3-letter agencies. Also, if one has a shape-shifting lineage or past life expression, one may feel that they can suddenly express that here. Case in point, Toran Cal tried to get Chris here to be able to change size and shape very much like he could on Atlantis and before. Chrome very much stopped him, but sometimes the oversoul can go overboard. Good enough, right? And that was written by Elena. There is, okay, let's see, this got split up, but okay.
Oh, this question says, more hand gestures. What cabal crap is this? Remember, when Timmy did this to me, what do you think it means?
Okay, Timmy is, I know is out of context, but the person that we're talking about already knows this, so there's no last names or anything in here. It was a video, it's a video link, and I will put it in the descriptor below. It is actually, oh, I can't, let's see if I can actually screen share this one, because it will be out of context unless if I don't. So I will actually bring YouTube up here. Okay.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend at any time and so much more when you join today. Get all the perks.
Okay, I now have to share screen. Okay. Okay. And here we are.
Pony. I'm totally weird. Gavin's hands. It's time for Gavin's hands.
to a new segment called Gavin's Hands.
Turn this down.
He keeps his hands in motion and his hair full of lotion. True, Gavin's views may be idiotic, but his hands moves. Well, they're hypnotic. California Governor Newsom's new podcast is out. It's available wherever fine hair care products are sold. And we couldn't help but notice an unintended delight, his unique hand gestures. Watch this clip with Steve Bannon.
I appreciate the notion of agency, that we're not bystanders in the world. It's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. And that fundamental notion of agency, I think, is important more broadly. And I think that goes to some of the issues around, victimization. And I see a lot of that, respectively, on the right, increasingly, even with Trump, often approaching things from that sort of mindset. What do you mean?
Okay, I will just leave it there because I'm not going to play the entire thing. I will put the link in the descriptor below. I will stop share screen, and I will also now have to bring our script back up here. Okay, and this was the answer. So this one was by Isaac. So let's see, Isaac here. He is signing. He is signing back his assignment parameters. He was told to report back, but here's the kicker. He doesn't know he's doing it. The sleeper is sitting within his subconscious. Some do it this way so they can pass a lie detector test. Others wing it. Think Schwarzenegger's Total Recall. Philip K. Dick knew his shit. Next question. So I basically just summarized. So he was programmed and put back. And also there's a disclosure in the media reference from the game Skyrim, where the character of Ulfric Stormcloak is actually programmed by the enemy, which are the elves, put back to cause a civil war between the Empire and the Stormcloaks, they're called. You even read this in his dossier in the Thalmor embassy when you sneak in there. Basically, they're notes, the Thalmor elves notes. So so this goes along with that. Also, V2K can do this too, and also the fact that people don't know what to do with their hands too half the time. So all of these things are true. So with him, with Newsom, I don't doubt that. So we normally don't comment on politicians, but I think that one deserved a second look from Gutfeld. So sorry, Gutfeld, we used your clip. So if you see this at all. So there we go. Next one.
Okay, is there much child trafficking as they claim, or is this just yet another narrative?
This was actually fantastic because there's two questions in this Q&A regarding like the Sound of Freedom and such. So this is so keep those coming. Okay, Isaac here. In part, though there are children being tortured a lot, unfortunately, frown face. He put the market has saturated, so to speak, with lies, exaggerations, rumor, and conjecture. Also, people have been having memories of rescuing children pumped into their heads by V2K to solidify the fact that they were there and witnessed it firsthand. Now, some may feel that me saying this is also V2K, to each their own, but I am warning now that when one person begins to realize, then subsequently reveal the lie. That, my friends, is the true Sound of Freedom. Now, people have real memories. He's just saying that some are inserted.
And he's not denying that children aren't being
Yeah,
harmed
he's taking
or
both
trafficked.
ends of this. Both ends
He's
of this.
just saying that the waves are being saturated with it.
It's oversaturated. Just like people always claim the UFO thing is oversaturated because that's part of the whole 100-year disclosure narrative as well. So we can go on to the next one.
What is the end game of the UFO narrative? How much of what we see is narrative, and how many shills are out there, seen and unseen?
Okay, this was by Thorsden, Isaac's brother. The end game, they like that quotes a lot. I noticed these two brothers like this. So, okay. The end game, sorry, I gotta read that. The end game, Man, I can't read that for some reason. It's this black font that's on this. You could see this, folks. I'm gonna screen share.
You don't need to.
Hang on, I'll screen share this real quick to show people. See this black crap right here?
It's just an inversion.
It's an inversion that took place on here. It's hard for me to see it. So, okay.
Want me to read it?
No, I got it. The end game, as he so quaintly puts it, is simple. And I see why I screwed this up. Give me a second. Actually, I don't need to do anything. The end game, as he so quaintly puts it, is simple. See what you believe, see how much you believe, and in the end, see if they can make you believe. As for the shills, are you not entertained? Divide and conquer and control, he says. Their modus operandi. The number of shills is irrelevant since one can do the damage with information that an army of soldiers could never do. Good enough, Chris? Okay, I hope that was clear enough. I did stammer quite a bit on that one. Okay, we can go on. The meaning that one person with even a small amount of information, even a single word, could collapse an army. I always say the way you collapse something like the Nazi regime or any of these things is make fun of it. You show things with humor, like what I said in my SSP book. I made the Martian Germans. I called a couple of their leaders Hans and Franz from SNL. It made them look retarded. So that's the way you do it, folks.
Okay. It was rumored that Bob Ross was a serial killer and Benjamin Franklin and the bones found under his house. What is the truth? This may be interesting or funny.
Yeah, so this was a question that popped up. Let me see. I've gotten various answers. There's a lot of glamour magic going on surrounding us. Even in my own sessions, I've seen both a yes and a no to this. I want, like what Houdini said in his channeling, there's glamour magic all over the place. So, and there's a lot of myths and disinformation too. So, but this is what Broston had to say. He's one of the forest people. Broston here, young lady, for Bob Ross, he had secrets, yes, but a serial killer, no, only skeletons. Ben Franklin, on the other hand, did kill someone. It was over a dispute whether or not they liked the same wine, or at least that's how it started. It ended up that way because they differed politically on nearly every topic. So to recap, Bob Ross, skeletons, Ben Franklin, murderer. Next question. These beings were there, folks. So this is they were around like a lot of colonial America and everything. A lot of them have been.
But then technically neither qualify as a serial killer.
No, neither qualifies as a serial killer. No.
Okay.
So there's also like with Fred Rogers, when he was rumored to be covered in tattoos and had been Marine, and that was a bit of disinformation that was floating around on the internet quite a while ago.
Okay. Is there such a thing as the brown note? And if so, has it been used?
Yes, and of course, Isaac would be the one to answer the poop question. Okay, let me see here. Yes, everyone. Yes, Isaac here to tell you that a recent video that Dumbass here was shared about a frequency that could clear out parasites, 1050 megahertz. This is indeed the infamous brown note frequency. Though, could it cause the entire world to spontaneously shit their pants? Yes, it could, but it's also used in V2K watchdog algorithms in order to control people via their shitty schedule. Next question. Meaning this is actually was disclosed in South Park many years ago, where somebody televised the brownout and everyone on Earth shit their pants. So this is actually, they were actually advertising this very frequency. Could it? Yes, but it would have to be done via V2K, and they do this with V2K technology, folks. They use a cell phone. They have presets like a radio on their cell phone, and for specific people, they send an AI watchdog algorithm at you that's tailored specifically for you. And if you ask how do they have the time to do this, they make the time. They're evil fuckheads. So they have a watcher in a neighborhood, and they do these. They unleash these to the point where it could be a false orgasm. It could be shitting or pissing yourself. It could be some behavior you're not used to doing. Pulling your pants down in front of a park. I've heard of the whole array of behaviors. So this is actually more important than people think it is. So that's actually a very good question. So next one.
Is the movie The Sound of Freedom how events are truly unfolding, or is there a narrative being played?
Okay, this was the next Sound of Freedom question here. Isaac here, everyone. It is a bit of both, actually. There is sadly human trafficking, alien abduction, military abduction, etc. But there is also a huge narrative being played right now to take away from the actual horrors of the world and beyond. This is all that I will say on this subject. Next question, please. Yeah, what he was saying was the narrative is taking away from the actual thing taking place. So it's in the way, essentially. Okay, next.
Is Captain America 4 Brave New World based on real disclosure and or political propaganda?
Okay, this was actually excellent. So we saw this movie, a fantastic movie. Don't know what people are griping about with the woke stuff in it. No, I do not get it. So if anybody points something out, let me know. So Isaac here, yes, the mind control with the light patterns and music programming is indeed true. But the analogy of Red Hulk being a representation of President Donald Trump, false. For one, I see how people think based upon a political bias and or through a political lens that it could seem as though Red Hulk equals red wave, and that Trump's current policies mean to some as if he is accumulating any and all resources to only the U.S., as Harrison Ford's character says, for us, meaning U.S., as was said by Harrison Ford's character, Ross. But the truth is that some have seen so much through a politically charged lens that they only see the forest for the trees. They don't see the forest for the trees, excuse me. The true lesson here is that just because there is a very true bit of disclosure depicted, it does not, and I repeat, not mean that there was a political message within the Red Hulk being representative of Red Wave. And that was by Isaac. And that is very true. That people can read into some things by quite a bit. And there is a disclosure in the media reference. There's some disclosure in the media references here. I'm going to have to fix that black crap because that is hard for me to see with my eye. So it is disclosure in the media references that are similar in nature. Cyberpunk 2077, Avatar: The Way of Water, our GIC episode, Galactic Interversal Consortium, episode number 5, the Reagan era, and our older lifting episode that was on disclosure in the media, that was on music. You can find that on the lifting Rumble channel. Star Trek: The Next Generation, season number 5, episode 6, The Game, and Wonder Woman 1984. So these are all references that you can look up. Cyberpunk, that has to do with V2K. Avatar: The Way of Water, that's saving consciousness to a chip, so does Cyberpunk. The Galactic Interversal Consortium, Reagan channel, talked about V2K. And then that lifting episode was on music programming. Star Trek: The Next Generation, season 5, episode 6, The Game, that had to do with a game that made people put into a suggestive state. Wonder Woman 1984 depicted magic mixed with V2K and binary network technologies. So I will put the episode number of the lifting in the descriptor. I somehow forgot to put it in the document. So here's the next one.
Okay. Someone had an awesome dream last night. I was at a carnival or fair or something. Huge portal was opening in the sky. Lots of planes and craft flying around it. I was asking people if they could see it. Some could, some couldn't. Some people couldn't even see or hear me. Haha. Not sure what it all meant, but it was awesome.
Okay, let me see here. Let me see. I wrote a few notes before the channel here. Let's see. I said some amusement parks are hubs for galactics. They can't always be seen or heard. The movie If showed unseen activity in an amusement park. The same goes with Toy Story 4. You were just seeing through one being's eyes there. Ghosts are numerous there too. A lot of them, by the way, in amusement parks. Not just people that died there, but they can be paranormal causeways, just like hospitals can, and battlefields and whatnot. So, and this was Isaac's response. And the other reason I say this, he said this man's name, as he was on a World of Sasquatch episode with us that will air shortly after this episode. His name's Terry Gaiman. This was who brought the question in. So, This also, he put it on his own Facebook wall. So, Isaac here, Terry. Yes, what he said is correct. Amusement parks are major hubs for galactic presences. Take Loki the series, where they show them going through a World's Fair. Those two are hubs. Now, it is fairs, amusement parks, and of course, Halloween. Next question. Oh, by the way, Draco loved to loosh ride goers of adrenalized energy from the rush of the rides. Same for wrestling events, football, to a lesser extent, soccer and baseball games, even WWE. But that tale shall also be told. Next, really this time, Isaac. So, also we will go on to the next one.
What are the new structures found under the Great Pyramids?
Yeah, this was actually a very good one. So this was sent in very recently, just before I wrote this up. So please keep bringing these questions in. So Elena here, I can honestly state for the record that what was found was indeed part of the internal workings of a power plant network, just as spoken about in the Giza power plant by Christopher Dunn. They have just found more of it. Dr. Hawass was just instructed to react as he always had. And that is to debunk any and or all findings regarding anything remotely about the power plant, aliens, supposed mystical links to Edgar Cayce, etc. Don't expect this to change anytime soon. Only more people will take notice of the scientific discrepancies between his assessments and Christopher Dunn's facts and figures. Elena. So, all right. And there's the next one.
Why are some women's eyes grown further apart than men's? Is it a mutation or is it from alien genes?
Genes, yes. So, Vesa here, everyone, to tell you that it is indeed from more of an influx of alien genetics, both from antiquity and from modern day abductions, or what you all call hybrid children. Ebens do this with the 144,000 prophecy, whereas they weave a small amount of their very own genetic code into a single generation, wait, then do it all over again. Unlike with the Ebens, other races have also done the same. If a child looks too alien, one of two things can happen. One, they are passed off as having a genetic disease/disorder, i.e. the werewolf disorder, whereas one has a lot of hair all over their face, Antiquan Dogman DNA. And two, they are taken in by loving ET parents somewhere in the galaxy. A prime example is a world known as New Haven, also known as Kepler 22b in the Pleiades, whereas people that are abducted, that their memories cannot be suppressed/removed by any means, even by what is known as engrammatic purge, whereas the memory engrams themselves are deleted, or through simple memory suppression. They are sent to one of many colony worlds within the Galactic Federation territory, just like in Star Trek: The Next Generation, where a person was from a primitive culture that was being ferried to another world without their knowledge. Suddenly found out, Picard offers to let him stay with them. It was just because his particular species was immune to all forms of memory tampering. The eyes question, though, is a simple one. For one, some species have eyes that are set further apart, i.e. tall whites, also known as elf kind, some fairy types, some Arcturian types, and some Lyran and dog people types. Vesa. You guys sure like that quotes. Okay, let's see. Also, I said talk about head and neck shapes. Yes, there are, and I've seen people on the news and everything I know have tall white lineages, very tall people, 7 foot. I've noticed that are related to some of Isaac's people, which are them. Some like on Lonulus, some are shorter, like Elena and Vesa, and some are very tall, like 7 foot, like Isaac. So also hit some head and neck shapes where you have a shorter head and a longer neck. Some of those are ET variances out there as well. They either come from antiquity or they've just surfaced, like what Gene Roddenberry called an Andromeda genetic reincarnation, where sometimes somebody could duplicate exactly how they were back then, or it's an immediate parent or grandparent. So that's essentially what I know on that subject.
On Ulanulos, as well as other worlds and planets, how do they have privacy with so much telepathy?
Ah, yes. This was channeled by a being by the name of Kaylani. This is Elena's sister that popped up here. So, Kaylani, here, everyone, I will say with some races, including humans, it is far more difficult, but we have a workaround. We not only have a holographic shield that can block visuals, meaning peeping toms, but we have an emotional and mental visual blocker. Think of it as a pop-up ad blocker. He here even had a vision whereas he saw a Star Trek Voyager species that was telepathically sensitive, the same one that tried to take character B'Elanna Torres' negative emotional engrams from her. He saw that he had a workaround by which he gave them an emotional as well as telepathic blocker, visuals and all. That visual idea or vision was based on truth. They will suddenly like these galactics will put things in your head based on references you already have in your head, like pop culture. That's why they use these a lot, because people get it. So, and people that are into more in sci-fi, it's easier for them to show you visuals here. So this is the next one.
Are Arcturians related to Syrians and Lanulosians and Lancaneers?
Okay, I will say something first. Arcturians, people expect like the blue and Syrian look, with the pointed ears, like an elf kind of. And Lancaneers are white-looking versions of this. And this was Indrid Cold that answered this morning. So, no, Chris, we are most certainly not. Indrid Cold here to explain one simple fact. We are not related to the supposed Arcturian genome. We are our own people, but the elves and fairies of old, as well as nudist searchers of space and time. Next question. Meaning he's basically telling everybody their genomes are separate, though they have similar appearances, is what he is trying to say. And Lancaneers are around on Lanulos as well. So that's like complete white, pale skin. Those are the tall whites of Charles J. Hall's Tall Whites of Nihilus, disclosure. The others are shorter ones, and some are like you see in The Witcher disclosure, where the character of Yennefer of Vangerberg, has like the ears like ours, but she's half elf. Some are like that because there's human DNA incorporated. So I wanted to actually incorporate that. Okay. This was one we did while we were out here. Okay, there's the question there.
What are the different Cabal belief systems?
Okay, this one was by Isaac. Okay, well, for one, they are all cut from the same exact cloth, meaning they are all related. Get it? Inbred. Now, as for their beliefs, they vary from group to group. Some, like the gardeners, are subservient to whomever is in ascendance at any given time, meaning when there is a consensus as to whom to serve. The Rothschilds currently hold that title, the championship belt, basically, of them. The Rockefellers are in second, though they seldomly admit it. As for beliefs, they are all aligned in one control, but Satanism usually falls to both Rothschild and Rockefeller. Next question, dipshit, Isaac. Okay, I do believe that was the last one in the list there.
So can we go up to that last question? I just want to look at something.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's see, keep scrolling down. No, the other way.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep going. Okay. All right. So who's coming in to talk?
Okay, this is going to surprise everyone. I thought this was actually quite fascinating. Let me adjust our screen here. I thought this was actually quite fascinating. You all have seen the Michael Jackson session that me and the unnamed lady, I won't name her name unless she absolutely says I can, did a session and where Michael Jackson came through. He expressed an interest to do channels. He also expressed an interest to later on do a much broader show with this person. So at some point, that is the only time we will reveal that person's name, is when that comes down the pipe. But I told him today that I would do a brief channeling with him, and you can ask him some brief questions on some of his life and some things around the cabal. That's why I chose that last question about the cabal belief systems, because it segued into him. And yeah, actually, he's very well, I wouldn't say completely impatient, just sense of urgency. Uh, mhm. Give me a moment. Yeah, and you can see he's actually pushing on both of us right now. So maybe you can tell everyone why you dress like Captain Crunch. Maybe maybe that's a thing you can say. He's like, okay. Oh, you knew I was going to bring the Captain Crunch thing up. So okay. All right. Okay, through the crystal, I do need to situate some things I forgot here. And so, all right. People wondering what I'm doing, silver coins and my crystal gem. So, shungite with the crystal. If people are wondering what I'm fiddling with on the desk here. So, all right. Michael, True Benevolent, Michael Jackson. Type. Oh. Yeah, I know it's creepy, but you're fine. I will make this brief. I have not done this type of communications before. So forgive the pauses. And the creepiness was my urgency. This does not mean bad, it just means fast. So, with this, you can ask me anything you like.
Well, since we're on the topic of, again, discussing the cabal, the inner workings, how they're working, and again, what was brought up before, answered in the question was subserviency in service to whomever was in ascendance. I don't think the Gardners are the only one. Hollywood comes to mind in subservience, but I wanted you to explain that, and then I was going to ask about another one.
The subservience of the cabal lines, not all of them agree. He would compare it to the Dune great houses. Your Rockefeller and Rothschild take the cake for being the most public known ones. The Gardners, yes, of course, but they are more the servitude family that basically side whoever's in charge. Think of like how Disney was to the Third Reich. It was like they saw it as a foregone conclusion, so therefore they were intermixed with that. With this, however, you have your Rockefellers, which are essentially Hollywood. You have your Rothschilds, which essentially are they're mainly they're all over, but they're on the East Coast. Essentially, they're both into the satanic religions. But this is why you had your new state of New York basically talking about your current president and basically kicking him out of there. These are the two families butting up against one another. These are essentially one narrative is favored over another because it actually benefits the people. One is sped up. This is why he was blamed for January 6th and Mar-a-Lago, because this was Rockefeller and other cabal family punishment for this. Now back in ascendance is the Rothschild, and also Rockefeller is hanging in the background. The Gardners will follow whoever is with them. You have technocrats that then go between all sides in these families, such as your Elon Musks, your Bigelows, things of this nature that go in between all these sides. Not that I'm saying all things in components in this are bad. Some do not even know they are part of this game. I will add this. Some are completely oblivious that they are part of this. Some are not. It is up to all of you to decide which ones. Now, as for Hollywood, This is a special kind of sickening. As you heard me say in my session, you heard what I went through there with the Cabal families and Hollywood. I was under a great deal of mind control while there. And great deal of not only familial allegiance to the Cabal lines, but a great deal of mind control on the surface. I think you could tell. Also, there was a lot of demons involved in my path. I will not saturate you with any of this, but I wanted to point out what they were doing. If Robin Williams comes in, he will shed some light on some of this at some point as well. Excuse, Spirit is trying to get rid of things off to your left here. Excuse. I am actually in spirit now, communicating as the aspect that was Michael Jackson from the Oversoul. If I was just fully the ghost, he would not be able to enunciate. There was too much emotional baggage with the avatar alone. So I'll answer more.
So in general, I think where it can be confusing, and, maybe you can expand a little bit more regarding the branches of the Cabal families, because, you're used to only thinking of the certain centerpieces of families, or you think of a royalty family, whatever. I think it's really difficult for people to wrap their heads around the multiple branches, because first of all, they won't necessarily have the same last name.
No.
But it is quite large, right?
Yeah, some families have split off into different family last names. This is why you don't know whom is who. The Rothschilds, for instance, you have the Bushes, the Trumps, the Clintons involved in this. With your Rockefellers, you have, of course, you have the Rockefeller known family, you have the Vanderbilts, the Vanderleeps, and several others. That are branches off. Of course, Vanderbilt is its own. They dealt mostly in architecture and things like that. The Trump side tends to deal in architecture and real estate, all this other stuff. But there's these offshoots that have different names. Again, I will say, for more of a disclaimer for themselves here, not all of these figures know they're part of this. It's just their families branch off from known Kabbalist sects. That does not mean any people are involved that I have mentioned, or he has mentioned, or she has mentioned, are knowingly part of anything like this. So, with this, some of these offshoots can then form their own clans. You also have the Gardner and Sverdlow as well. They're considered to be the time travel families. Gardner is the root family. The Sverdlow is the offshoot. Even though they would not say so. It was more like they broke off from that and did their own thing. They're famous for doing some things in Hollywood with media, with disclosure in the media. That would be Rockefeller, and you would he likes to mention the end of the older Masters of the Universe He-Man movie, where they show Castle Grayskull on the edge of reality and timelines changing, where one guy gets left but the two people go back in time and change stuff, even though there's this guy here, that kind of thing. That's where they get involved with Hollywood. The Gardner family would just be content to manipulate time, utilize the Montauk Project, all of this other stuff. They would be content not to put it in the media. The Sverdlow family puts it in the media, because you have their name right stamped at the end of that movie, Esri Sverdlow. So, again, I know you guys tend not to name names. I do apologize. But this is about naming the Cabal sects. So, with this said, the branches sometimes will create an even smaller branch, whereas these people are diluted away from the Cabal line. Snip! And a child gets put into a different family. That then the genome then passes on somewhere else. That family generally is pretty much free of some of the influences. I say free because they might have some stalkers, abductors, and gawkers and gang stalkers watching them for quite some time. But these are the branches of these bloodlines. The main bloodlines, you don't see them as much, even though they are named You see members of the Rothschild family, you see members of the Rockefeller family, you rarely see members of the Gardner family. And you rarely see members of the Sverdlov family. But the bigger groups of them are off in the distance. Now, say you have the comparison to names is like, say you have your Sheens and Estevezes. It's the same family. The same goes with Trump Rothschild. The same goes with Vanderbilt Rockefeller. The same goes with, you get the idea. This is how these names get created. They'll create an offshoot and over here, and another one over here that might want to go their own way. You also have these other factions with different philanthropists and different agendas that are out there. This is how this happens. Now, in my case, off in Hollywood, you also have like your SNL, which was in Rockefeller Center. Rockefeller Center is owned by, you guessed it, the Rockefeller family. They have their names all over it. Trump has his tower, like in Vegas and in New York. Vegas has both. So you have his tower, and you have Rockefellers that are integrated into the gambling culture. You also have film people that are in and out of there all the time with Hollywood. That is Rockefeller. So where mine came into play was essentially the family line was controlled by Kabbalists' interests, seen as a servant line. Not just because of skin color, mind you. This very seldom has hardly anything to do with it anymore, because you have a Rothschild, which is President Obama, which you made the assertion that he looked like Akhenaten. You are correct. This is the origin of the Rothschild family, you see. And also some slave lineages got thrown in there as well. With this, the Rockefellers are involved in film, and entertainment. With my family, they groomed them to be handlers, to be able to have children that went along with those ideals. They pretty much, for the boys, they will essentially castrate the girls. They try to gender swap as they go along. In some cases where they cannot, they just do the castration method, like with myself. With that, then, I hinted as time went on by doing the crotch grab that you call it. That is where I was trying to say what they had done. Robin Williams tried to actually say some things too, what was going on through his gruesome death and the reason why he was so depressed all the time. He can go into his life. I will not speak for him. But with that, where I went and did the whole Neverland Ranch, my evolution, let's just say, stopped at being a child. That is where my psyche went to because of an abusive father. In this, and also what was done. Where did my mind go? It was more malleable to be fucked with later on. And yes, there was things with children going on Neverland Ranch. Fully admit this. But it was on top of a tunnel opening that these children were trafficked through. So yes, there are aspects of Sound of Freedom that were true. This is the true portion of it, along with the other narrative, of course, that Isaac was saying. Playboy Ranch Mansion was part of this. The underground, like your new Hellfire Club. The current incarnation is not so much. There is creativity involved in this now. This is slowly being retracted. Things are realigning, like Isaac said on a different recording. I was around for these two. I was listening to some of these, and I have been rather pushy for him to get the information out. Once it's out, it's out. Now, the whole crux of the conversation is I wanted to bring attention to what was going on. I had to be as outlandish as possible. And he always accuses me of looking like Captain Crunch. This was on purpose. Look for the people that are outlandish, that overly dress outward. You will see origins of this same activity. You will see like your Lady Gagas and all of this other stuff. Not that these people, again, are guilty of anything. Any outlandish behavior, any outlandish looks, an outlandish anything There are creative aspects out there, of course. Of course, there's creativity. Of course, there's that kind of wonder out there, that artistic side. Then you have the depraved sides, like your Jeffrey Epstein's, who was, again, part of one of these families. So, with that said, I hope this answered.
It did. I think, again, when we talk about, I think it's hard. I mean, people see it in their family, but they don't know. There really are certain characteristics and a way a person will think that is inbred into these family lines.
You said it.
Right. So, I mean, but it's one of those things where that is really difficult. Can you inbreed into a line things like we're greater than you?
Yes.
And it can be.
Absolutely. Your Nazi regime was actually just like this, where they were manicured over time to, in their legends, they say an ET, they defeated an ET race or something like that in the Middle Ages. They were groomed by the bad guys to eventually be overbloated, egocentric, arrogant, and have a severe superiority complex. Then that fracture of the German people, I'm not saying all of them, just that fracture, then became the Third Reich.
Right. So it's really hard for people to wrap this around their head, because I think for someone, just a regular person not involved with these families or anything like that, it's really hard to understand they were born to think the way that they are thinking. More so why, again, even in some of the offshoots, some of that ways of thinking, even though they may not know they're really a part of something,
It can still be there.
it's still, well, and I would think they would expect it to be still there if they were given positions of some sort of authority or some sort of something that it's kind of driven basically to put these people in certain key positions. And then at times, if they are knowingly involved in certain ritualistic type of behavior, be it Satanism or clubs, let's say, that, whatever they are, there is an expectation that sometimes the bill is going to come due, meaning there is a knowledge there that you are getting a hand up, a better position in society, things coming to you. But there could be a moment in time where your card comes up and you're going to be required to play that card.
Yes.
And do something to show loyalty to everything that's been done to you, no matter how outlandish that may look.
This is your judge in your current case against your president.
Right.
Currently. Also, your Club 33 in Disney was part of this at once upon a time, no pun intended, but this has since been expunged, but this was actually quite some time ago. People have memories of this place and things like that happening around Wonderful World After all this other stuff. Some of this happened quite some time ago. This has been cleansed for the most part in some areas. People are having memories from quite some time ago, but also I know you don't like naming names, but Disney is integrated as a cabal faction as well, and they're part of this just like the fusion with the Third Reich. Yes, he was creative, but his father was mainly wanting to be part of this. Again, like my own, it's the same difference. So you're seeing a lot of these things, just like some of your cruise lines. Some things happen with children there. Where they're trying to find who has a certain genetic signature that could be part of like what you call your secret space programs, things of this nature. That's where sometimes that's where the lost children go. Again, there's a narrative and then there's some reality in there. I do not wish to overbloat either one, because I'm just stating what I personally know and the things that I heard and witnessed. I was around a lot of the Hollywood elite in the day. They made me look as crazy as possible. I think you noticed. Entertainer of the millennium, all of that, And so with this, I may not sound completely like myself. It is because I recently transitioned, no pun intended, to spirit. And you are actually talking to the aspect that was Michael Jackson. It's more the Oversoul library you are talking to currently. It is. I'm reflecting that out so that I can present the information to you. Again, my ghost would have been far too overwhelming and would have entangled something horrible. See, ghosts, when they come through, the reason people see them in dreams, and where they aren't allowed to touch them, like he says his mother was to his great grandmother, was you try to hug them if you were to touch them and you become entangled with them. He saw this with his knee tendon, whereas it belonged to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old girl that got into a car accident and died. The ghost tried to fuse with him until he sent her on. The same goes with organ donor people, all this other stuff. There's that phrase from the Bible, you cannot lay hands on me. I have not seen the face of my father, or some variation thereof. Essentially, this is the same kind of thing going on. Some it has to do with belief systems, others it's a matter of entanglement physics, where if you touch the ghost, you start to fuse with them. Bad combination for channeling, because that ghost then is now riding in you and you don't even realize it. Some jump into you and fuse with you. This is why he doesn't like ghosts touching him, for that reason. But once they're spirit can flow like water. This is the only way I'm able to do this.
Okay. So, but in general, again, I think, to me, from my perspective, and you can, of course, from your perspective, I'd like to know, but in general, it seems to me what's really happening now is that it's truly becoming evident the alignment of people to one of the two respective cabal families. I mean, to me, it's like almost in your face that you see the different ideology between the two and the fierceness of the fighting between those two.
Yes, it is not unlike your Enki and Enlil fights of the past. They kind of mimic this, actually. I don't say they kind of do. They pretty much do. And there's a lot of damage in their wake, a lot of people in between. This is why your political parties are Democrat, Republican, and only focus on each other. Now, the current Republicans are speaking truth, where they are saying, yes, they can only focus on Trump and all the good he's doing. Yes, but in the past it's been flipped. You see, they can only seem to focus on each other. Who gets caught in the middle? The regular Joe. And you can see when the two cabal families fling shit at each other, who gets the blowback from all of it. People get caught in the middle. The regular Joe gets caught in the middle through all the narratives, controversies from anything with your LGBTQ community to your Republican Party to your Democrat, Republican to gay, straight. It don't matter. Who gets caught in the middle? The regular people that actually don't care about any of this. And the majority are the people that don't care about any of this. What you're seeing are these narratives that get flung. Oh, we'll show him. Oh, we'll show him. Just like he heard that there were some Democrats in Washington from somebody that worked there that tried to improve things. And everybody went, no, we're focusing on Trump. No, we can't do that. We're focusing on Trump. Well, no, we're supposed to be doing our job. You're going to hurt people. And they just laughed at this person. That's how it actually is with some of them and those that self-farm these agendas. This is the truth of the matter.
So it's an interesting thing, because again, one of the reasons we bring all this up, again, to help people learn how to co-create better and use their energies better, not to get involved in some of these narratives, but to have a clear sense of themselves, of the type of experiences and what they'd see like for themselves and their family and for their state and for their country, and further on of what they want these relationships to now be like, which then allows humanity to that energy to have a seat at that table, because they're not allowed to ignore it. It really is a force, almost like that unseen, unscripted person who now is sitting at the table with them, and that they cannot control.
Yes, there's always an unseen force sitting at the table with them. There's always some watcher. You have the Anunnaki lines to deal with as well. The ones that are the puppeteers, some of the puppeteers. Then you have the self-farmers. Then you have, of course, your political parties, your Democrat, an extreme leftist woke. You have your conservative Republican, and you have extreme religious views. You always have these things involved. At the table where they sit, they always have to regard themselves as having been watched by somebody. This is also why they do the sacrificial things, because They think that they're overlords, whatever god they worship, whatever Orion or Anunnaki's insignia they hold allegiance to. They always feel they either need souls or gold or jewels or some kind of homage, like a pirate would get tribute, or Aztec or Mayan would sacrifice somebody and then leave gold in a lake. This has gone on for centuries. They still adhere to these rules, no different than they did 2, 3,000, 5,000 years ago.
Are they at all confused, from your perspective, confusing the energy that they're feeling now is more just coming from the regular people and they're thinking it's something else? Are they confused by that?
They are not confused because they're too arrogant to be confused. They are slightly irked. They're a little, some factions are afraid and confused a little, but the major ones are thinking it's always business as usual. They don't believe anything of the energetic changes. They think since they made up a lot of some of these narratives, they think people spouting this, they're just going to laugh and go, haha, you believe what we made up. He says, like in your Dawnguard DLC in Skyrim, whereas you find out a vampire lord had made up the whole vampire prophecy, and that's the Cabal. They made up a lot of stuff from your New Age and everything, and your CIA made up a lot of stuff. So they're thinking if you spout it back to them, they just going, haha, you fell for it. That's how they think. They don't think anything could ever happen to them. They're severely incorrect on that. Their own arrogance will be their undoing, or like in your Gattaca movie, where Ethan Hawke's character wants to get on a shuttle, and somebody said, oh, only if you're cleaning it. And then somebody says, no, they're so arrogant, they're not going to think a normal human is going to be on there. They were all genetically engineered except for the one character. They're not going to think of that way. Those are beautiful examples of how they think, how these Kabbalists think. They're arrogant to the core. Most of the time, they don't see the forest for the trees. But if they think somebody could possibly overthrow them, they try to manipulate with the time travel and AI nonsense. But I shouldn't say AI nonsense. It's more like somebody actually at the console. It's not as common as you think that they just use AI. They can train one, but it's usually somebody messing with you, a physical person messing with you. But in this case, this is how I see it.
Okay, but you feel more and more as people are starting to not being able to deny what they're seeing for their own eyes. And we're getting to that point.
They're getting to that point, yeah.
And putting out this energetic of I don't want this anymore kind of situation that it is impacting. Do you feel it is impacting yet what's going on?
Oh yeah, it's the energetic butterfly effect. What you would say is you implant information into the benevolent Akashic and it passes to like little fires of information. This is very important because it begins to build in what you call millimeters and centimeters. This is what is happening. Things reach critical mass. As you would say, people can't circle the toilet or the drain forever. These are the laws of nature. These are the laws of reality. They cannot defy them no matter how much they can twist and bend time. This eventually comes back to bite them. You would call it karma, but that's not entirely accurate. He would say it's flows of energy, cause and effect. That is always true, regardless of what point in the multiverse you sit.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you for everything and just leave any last words to you.
Mm-hmm. Some people might not buy this is me, but because you see, I've more expanded or you would say gone back to spirit, but my spirit self was always there. You would say like the guy looking for a giant in the woods, and he sits on the big toe of the giant and doesn't see the giant there at all because he's too large. I've gotten to that place. All the things that in my avatar's life were despicable in some areas. Yes, absolutely. There was victimhood and there was assailant-hood. These I own up to. But I want people to understand the ones that you are throwing crap at, like on the news and stuff like that, are usually the ones that have the puppet strings. Just remember this. And I'm not saying you need to love or hate or whatever. Just be aware of some of the facts and figures that are right in front of you. And do not buy fully into certain things, a disclosure narrative that might be false. Somebody's trying to, he says like the Loki character taking going one way and looking like he goes another kind of thing. Subterfuge. is what I'm saying. Misdirection. Misdirection is happening all the time. All the facts and figures are right out there in the open in front of you. It's all there. You just have to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. It's all right there in front of you. So I will detach now. So thank you for having me on. I will return at some point to go more into this on my own. I was just anxious to get into this this particular vernacular. Others will claim they've spoken to me. Have I hinted at trying to talk to certain people? Yes, but they weren't always able to give this level of detail. I've never actually channeled like this before, no, regardless of what anybody's said. So you're the first. Not that I'm trying to put you on a pedestal, but I'm just getting my.
Please don't put him on a pedestal.
I'm just getting my sea legs, you would say. So I don't put anyone on a pedestal. That's a bad thing to do, by the way. So I will detach now. Thank you. Before I make it worse. Okay. So goodbye. Just remember, I was a man, not a victim, not a god, a man. Thank you. That's how Chadwick Boseman was when he came through. I saw him looking at me one day. He goes, "I'm just a man. I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a guy." You know. So, and there's a famous Roman phrase out there: "You are but a man, and that's all you'll ever be," kind of thing. Or "You are but a man." They did that before every chariot race, every sort of event that anybody would go into, so they didn't get the big head. That's the phrase they would always use. Or, as Bruce Lee said, I am confident to know that I will always be number one, but I am wise enough to know that I will always be number two. So that's an ego, to keep the ego in check. So this is, I believe, where we can get to the end of this. So we can, any other thing you want to say before I
Yeah,
take
I
this on?
think hopefully everyone enjoyed the questions.
Okay, so we will, I'll go into the last affirmation and blessing to the end of one way and to the beginning of another. I say, embrace the truth of a situation and discard the unnecessary. And that was by me. So at this point in time, I now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now. Oh, also, there were a lot of other Michael Jackson synchronicities leading up to him being on here. We heard Man in the Mirror a number of times, like reflection, shadow work, that whole bit, yeah, that's what that whole song was about. And he's pointing out that they had it in the Lego movie too. Why he's using that Batman Lego reference, I don't know, but meaning kind of like a toy or fake world, basically like Neverland was a fake toy like world, put together kids, see, I think that's what he means there. Yeah. Okay, 4-3, that's a 7, 4-4, 4-5, that's a 7-8. So there we go. 2-4, 2-5, that's a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, see all of it together 11. So, and 27 is a 9, and 2025 is a 9. So it is. And 2 and 5 is a 7. So, yeah, it's 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, March 27th, 2025. Thank you. There's also a synchronicity about Robin Williams. I was looking at the video where Tyrus cracks up over Gavin Newsom's strange habit. That's the hand thing. Bobcat Goldthwait on the death of Robin Williams. That's from Powerful GRE or Joe Rogan Experience. So, yeah, that's me. I mean, the AI could be reading thoughts, like when we were talking about Ark of the Covenant one time, and we got 10 tons of the Ark of the Covenant things on streaming on YouTube and any of the apps and stuff like that kept popping up. Some of that's AI. But in this instance, this one's a synchronicity. If it keeps happening, then yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It is 4:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, March 27th, 2025. Thank you. One thing about the Q&A show I wanted to say, I know Michael Jackson mentioned a bunch of names, and he associated those people with particular families. This happens to be true, but at the same time, with the theater puppets, they don't always know they're part of the puppet show. Is it still Swamp? Yeah, like we said on Patreon all those years ago, it's still Swamp. They're saying, oh, they're draining Swamp. Still Swamp. it's still a puppet show, regardless of what you think of either side. Yeah, I believe Biden was more Rockefeller, Trump more Rothschild. But do either of them know? That's the question that needs to be asked right there. So, of anybody asking about their own politics, do either of them know? And do any of us know? But at the same time, do certain narratives help people and some hurt in this war between the families? Yes. So I'll leave that here. It is 12:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, March 29th, 2025. Thank you. Well, in Q&A, when you heard Michael Jackson talking about, like I said, the different cabal families, Isaac always joked. He called that the two families, the Rockefeller and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, like the Reese's of the cabal world, or that would be the combined children of both of them, kind of like Atreides and Harkonnen in Dune Prophecy. It just wasn't a thing. Or like Hatfields and McCoys, it wasn't a thing. I'm related to both, so obviously it was took place. But to Hatfields and McCoys, not Rockefeller and Rothschild. That I know of. I know English King line is in there. So it's obviously one of these bigger families, like Marion Virginia or something like that. But anyway, the famous, Da Vinci Code Christ line. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, he said Reese's because, how dare you get your chocolate in my peanut butter? Kind of like that sequence in Family Guy where this guy comes running up, it's Officer Reese's, and then he invented peanut butter. They showed this peanut butter chocolate mix, from a car accident, and the cop ends up killing the witness and then taking the chocolate peanut butter. I always found that hilarious. But this was the joke, where the two families are like chocolate and peanut butter, and another one is like butterscotch, another one's like mint. And it's kind of like that's the joke, or like the 31 flavors from Baskin Robbins, but in this case it's 13. The joke was in The Simpsons they showed Baskin Robbins as the Democratic National Party headquarters, and they showed Dracula's castle as the Republican National Party headquarters. So with Mr. Burns and Dracula and a couple an alien on the council, that whole bit. But you get what I'm saying. These are the jokes that would bring used there. I found this hilarious. So, and it was put in a format where I understood it. So, yeah. So that works. You got to know Isaac's joking, and also the references other beings will make, other people will make, especially when it comes to spirit. It's multi-layered, multi-level. So, it is 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, March 29th, 2025. Thank you.